Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I am doing pretty well, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. We're recording
Love
this.
it.
We were going to record this episode right after our live stream, on Tuesday night, which we've been doing, which has worked pretty well for our schedules. And then Jamie was kind of tired, and the camera needed to be charged, so we figured let's just do it the next day. So we're doing this at like noon, and it feels kind of nice.
I have lots of energy. Yay. But yeah, it was almost 11 o'clock when we were going to start recording. I was like, I can't do this. So
I can fake energy better than Jamie can.
Oh, for sure. I can't. I'm 11 o'clock is tired. It's tired time.
If you played audio of you, I could tell you what time of day you were talking, I think.
How dare you?
I don't know. Maybe I'm that way. I feel like I'm more like level in that way, like where it's morning or night. I'm the same way, but maybe not. I don't know.
It's because you're a night owl. Like you stay up pretty late. I don't as much.
Don't tell me about myself.
Okay. Well, it's true. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we're recording this one, and this is technically our 4th of July episode, but it's not going out on 4th of July. It's on Thursday. We're gonna put it on Friday, right?
Yeah, I mean, we figured probably most people are busy on the 4th, so just do it on the Friday and do it that way. Yeah. So hopefully everybody has had a great 4th. Ours hasn't happened yet, and neither has yours at this point. But I'm hoping that it goes well. But yeah, we're going to a minor league baseball game tonight. It's like a busy week here. So we have the 4th coming up, which we're gonna do swimming stuff and hang out with friends and all that.
Well, we've got a big neighborhood party at the pool that we go to every year, and they give out like free hot dogs, free hamburgers. They have a DJ, tons of little accessory and toys that they can play with in the pool. It's very fun, and it's always so packed. So we are excited for that. Go to our friend's house, do some fireworks, go to another friend's, more fireworks. Like, it's fun. It's fun. I love it.
Yes, and I'm sure it will be very hot, but be a lot of fun. And then we have birthdays, because if you're unfamiliar or don't know about us, all of our birthdays in our family are in July, including my brother, except for his wife's is in June, I think. But other than that, everybody's.
And my mom.
I know your mom, your sister.
My sister's in June.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but everybody's in July, so we have some birthday things coming up next week where Jamie's celebrating a milestone birthday. I won't say which one, but you're celebrating a birthday.
I'll say it. I don't care. I'm turning 40. 40.
Are you okay with that?
I mean, if I say no, what's gonna happen? Nothing. No, I'm grateful that I've got to 40. That's great. But yeah, it's weird because it's like, oh, I've been in my 30s, and I liked being in my 30s. I felt like it was more my personality. Now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, oh, this is what I need to be. This is where my personality fits. I'm a 40s girl, because I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I've never been the age that I am. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
Like, when I was 30, I didn't feel like I was 30. I felt like older.
So you feel like you're growing into your personality?
Yes, thank you. I'm growing into my personality. That's what I mean.
I've never given much thought to it. I'm just who I am. Like, I guess you could say I'm doing the same thing, but I don't. Listen, I'm not going to let other people put their number ages on me. I will be whatever I feel like. Okay?
That is your personality. He's the get off my lawn guy, and will perpetually be that guy.
I'm not the get off my lawn guy.
Yes, you are.
I'm the don't tell me what I'm supposed to feel type of guy.
Right.
Don't put
pretty much the same.
Same guy. I know people in their 50s that you would think they're in their 30s. I know people in their 30s that look like they're in their 70s. So I'm just like, don't put your ideas of age on me. I will just, I'll be, I don't know what I'm trying to say here at all. I'm just saying. Well, I know people who are younger that look older, and vice versa. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well, I turned 40 on Sunday. Jared turns 41 on Monday.
Don't put my business out there.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't put my business on blast.
Well, they already know it now. And then our kids turn 8 and 5 next week.
Well, that's the part let's not talk about that.
And it's crazy. So, and then my niece turns 1 a couple days after that. Yeah, you're right. It's crazy. It's crazy. July's just packed with stuff. So,
how old's your mom? Let's go through everybody's birthdays. How old's your mom going to be? I'm just kidding. Let's not do that. We're going to bore everybody. Jamie's a numbers person. She goes, see, I don't do numbers. I just do I do generalities and then get specifics and my eyes glaze over. We're not going to talk about birthdays anymore and things of that nature. We do have some news to go over in the parks, and then we have a segment which I guess we do every year, but it's because if you're going to go to Disney or Orlando, it's going to be very hot. That may come as a shock to some people, but it is going to be very hot. So we have some tips on how to stay cool in the parks. And a lot of it comes from, like, I used to do personal training and a lot of sports, so I can tell you little, like, tips on if, you start feeling overheated. There are things you can do before, you don't want to be that person that has to have the ambulance called for you in the middle of the World Showcase, because that's a whole thing. So there are things you can do, if you start feeling a certain way to, cool down and not have to have that happen to you.
Exactly.
But before we do that, we just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us over on YouTube, or if you're not, you should be. You can catch us over at CTM Podcast at YouTube, where we have video versions of the show. We have show clips over there, so you can catch us there. And we also have audio version of the show, of course, the old-fashioned, if you're listening just like the old-timey radio version, everybody gathered around the radio. That's what I view it as anyways. You can listen to us there. Whatever platform you listen on, we greatly appreciate it. We just ask you, please subscribe and leave us a review. Help us continue to grow the show. And if you want even more content, if you want to contribute to the show, you can do that by joining Club 32. And that's our private group. It's kind of like our own Patreon. We just host it on our own end. And we have additional content like Cool Kids Kitchen, which is a monthly live stream. We have the Club 32 show every Tuesday where we hang out and chat with everybody. And I let everybody know, apparently I have a sordid past. I thought most people got into trouble. Nothing bad, but apparently, I don't know. I guess I would be the bad boy of CTM, apparently.
Okay.
Either way, we talked about that last night, amongst having trivia and things like that. We also have private music feeds, music loops from the parks. So a lot of people like to listen to those when they're just going about their day and doing things. We have 25% off currently for CTM Apparel and 1901 Candle Company products, private Facebook group. There's meetups, all sorts of things in there. So if you want to go join there, you can go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options. And you can even do a free trial if you want to do that. Or if you do a yearly, you get a free t-shirt. So you get something for free either way. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And I guess I should add now that, on this show, we stick to the parks.
We do.
We do park tips and everything like that. And the same on the Universal show. If you're looking for more, sometimes some people like it. Some people hate it. But over on the YouTube channel at Captain Magic, I've been doing daily videos there of just talking more about, like sometimes it gets into like entertainment or the parks in terms of a business perspective. So I've been having a lot of videos over there that are just short little, 8 to maybe 12-minute videos there. So if you are interested in that, you can go check over on the YouTube channel at Captain Magic, as I've been putting those there. So just want to put that out there. So, all right. Let's go through some news here. So the first one we have is the Flavors of Florida, presented by Corksicle, has returned to Disney Springs this summer.
Yeah, so they've been doing this for a couple of years. This runs July 1st through August 11th, and it basically celebrates the flavors of Florida, as the name entails. There are 82 special food and drink items at over 40 locations, and the options are very citrusy, very light, lots of orange. There are also pairing events and culinary demonstrations. You can also check out the new Discover the Springs Seek and Find activity. Even Orange Bird is featured a lot more this year than it has been previous years. And I'm like looking at all this stuff. I'm looking at all the items. I'm looking at the event itself. And I'm like, this is Food and Wine Festival light.
Yeah.
Well, it very much is.
Well, I'm pretty sure Food and Wine originally started at Downtown Disney.
It did.
And they eventually moved it over to Epcot. So
you're correct.
Maybe they're deciding to do a lighter version for the summer. I mean, this is
a summer festival.
Well,
basically.
And we had talked about maybe Epcot doing some sort of summer festival. It seems that they're just doing it over at Disney Springs.
Well, they did. Like I said, they've done this before. This is not the first year Flavors of Florida has happened, but this is the first year they've done this many food items.
Right.
I was like 82 because I counted. I went through and I counted every single one, and I was like, that's a lot of items. But I mean, Disney Springs has a lot of places to eat and drink, so it just makes sense. But with having the pairing events, the culinary demonstrations, the scavenger hunt, I mean, the only thing we're missing is merchandise. So put the merchandise in, and it is a full-blown festival. That's just my opinion.
Is that what makes the festival's merchandise?
I mean, I think so.
So it's
at least at Disney.
I mean, they're going to have merchandise, you would assume, but.
I mean, this is a festival. It is.
Right.
I guess it's like it feels like Food and Wine Festival. I mean, Food and Wine doesn't even have the culinary demonstrations, so.
They used to.
They did.
That's one thing I do hope they do bring back to Food and Wine is they used to have different, like they even had wine tastings. They would have, I remember there was Joffrey's that did a coffee one before. Like they had different ones, and some of them cost money, but a lot of them were free. You could just go listen in on, but.
Yeah, but like if you want to do a festival kind of feeling, you don't want to go to the parks and pay for a ticket. I mean, it's as free to get in. You just pay for the stuff you're gonna.
That's true.
Eat and drink. So yeah, I like it. We'll be at Disney Springs for a little bit on Sunday, so maybe we'll check out something.
Looking forward to the crowds.
Sure you are.
All right, next story we have is the 2025 Plan Disney panelist search begins on my birthday, July 8th. I didn't ask for this as a present. I don't really think this is a present for me, if I'm being quite honest. I'm a little underwhelmed.
Okay. Well, it says, we are looking for guests who enjoy sharing their Disney vacation planning, knowledge, and excellent tips with others. So panelists are chosen for their ability to efficiently answer guest questions in one of 4 specialties: Walt Disney World Resort, Disneyland Resort, Disney Cruise Line, or Disney Vacation Club. Specialist panelists even answer questions in 4 languages: English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. And the application process consists of 3 rounds, a series of short answer questions, a brief video submission, and a virtual interview. And you can go to plandisneysearch.com for more information. The reason I bring this up is because I've actually applied for this before in the past, and I know of someone that got through the second round, but they didn't get the last round. But it is very competitive. I mean, there's a lot of people that apply for this.
What do you get if you win?
You get to be on the panel.
Which does what?
Answer questions.
But do you get paid?
That's a good question. I don't know.
This seems like a lot of work for not a lot of reward.
I would think you get, I mean, you're doing work for Disney, so I think you get paid. It's probably not much, but like if you're a travel agent, you can't apply. If you work for the company already, you can't apply. So there are some restrictions to who it qualifies, but yeah.
Right. I mean, it seems almost like a Miss America pageant thing. I mean,
you got to know what you're talking about, though.
Sure. I mean, but although you lost me, and they're like, we need you to have these in 4 languages. I'm like, that's a lot of work. How about we calm down?
No. You don't have to speak 4 languages. It's just that the panelists will be able to.
Oh, well, that's better. That's better.
Like if you know English and Spanish, that's probably good. If you know Portuguese and English, that's good. You know what I mean? Like knowing multiple languages will help you, I'm sure.
I guess I've just never seen, like, I've never paid a lot of attention to this stuff in terms of like what they actually do once they're on this panel. Like, do they get, I don't know. It seems like a lot of work. I would be curious as to the amount of rewards you get, but I would say, if you know that much, and maybe this is just me speaking because we have one, but like start your own thing, like do your own podcast or something.
That's also a possibility, but
I mean, I guess you could use the leverage of saying you used to be on the Disney Plan Disney panel, but I don't know how much. Does that get you clout on the streets? I don't know how this works.
Well, it used to be Disney Moms,
right?
Is what it used to be called, and then they switched to Plan Disney. But yeah, it's
maybe
nice
it gets you that sweet street cred.
I love street cred.
It's a currency in of itself. All right. Well, if you want to do that, there you go. Don't let me dissuade you. Although it's not for me on my birthday, so I'm not really that impressed by it. I'm not going to do this, but.
Right.
If you're interested, do it.
Okay.
And
thanks, Jared.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Okay.
Or maybe I don't. I don't know. Anyways, let's move on. Next story we have is the Eat to the Beat concert series lineup and dining packages have been released.
So yes, we know who's going to be performing. There's a couple of new acts, but really nothing. I would say the only thing that's significant would probably be Yellow Card. They'll be there in September.
Let me be the judge. The Fray, I'm done. Gosh,
Jared hates the Fray.
I didn't like the Fray when the Fray was like the thing. Is there like a window they look out while they play and there's rain falling? Because that's the only way that I ever can see the Fray is like some dramatic scene where you're looking out a rainy window and contemplating about what could have been.
I mean, I'm just excited to see Sugar Ray. Mark McGrath. I'm just kidding.
Is he still in Sugar Ray?
I don't know. I have no clue. So we got the Frey, Sugar Ray, Hoobastank, yellow card.
Hoobastank.
Tiffany, Mercy Me, Sheila E, The Wanted, Luis Figueroa. I'm sorry. Mao E, Ricky, Jesse and Joy, Aloe Black, Joey Fatone and Friends, yay. We the Kings, Switchfoot, yay. David Archuleta, Billy Ocean, Hanson, yay. Haley Reinhardt featuring Emily Estefan, Casey Abrams, and Janelle Parrish.
They need to come up with a band name. That's too many words. That's too many names involved.
Boyz II Men, Magic, Parmalee, Smash Mouth, and drumroll please, 98 Degrees.
Lachey's going to be there.
It's getting Lachey in here.
I have to say, I feel like it's a lot of me mentioning him over the years. Maybe
that's why they're coming back.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, lucky for you, we're gonna be there that weekend.
I didn't say I like 98 Degrees.
We're gonna be there that weekend. We can just catch them then.
I didn't say I like them.
No?
I think that's it's a funny band name. It's just a measure of temperature. It's just a specific temperature. And I think Lachey's
why are they called 98
because they're
degrees?
So hot.
Is that why?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I would
Body
assume
temperature.
if you're saying too hot, you'd be like, we're 99 degrees because we're running a fever.
I mean, listen.
And then you get into cowbells. I don't really know.
I need to look into this because that's a great question. I never thought about why.
It's probably as simple as they were like, we need a band name. And they looked on the weather and it was like 98 degrees that day. And they're like, you know what? Let's just do it.
It's great.
Because I feel like back then, they didn't really put there weren't a lot of effort put on a lot of these boy band names. If we're being quite honest, O-Town. It's just Orlando is what it stood for. If nobody knows that, by the way, Orlando was the central thing for all the boy bands, so they just went O-Town.
Okay.
Don't even get me started on the NSYNC.
Well, their name comes from their names.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Well, before they had Lance, the other guy that was in there, his name was part of it too. I forgot. I'll have to look it up.
Is he like the guy that was in the Beatles before they got big and got replaced? And
no, I don't.
That guy's like, I was a part of the NSYNC once.
Anyway, beginning July 9th, you can secure your spot at the show and reserve a Eat to the Beat dining package. This is available Friday through Monday. And those package information is available now. So there are 8 restaurants offering dining packages. There's Akershus, Beer Garden, Coral Reef, Garden Grill, Le Cellier, Regal Eagle, Rose and Crown, and Spice Road Table. Prices for adults range on the low end at $36 per adult. That's at Regal Eagle. All the way up to $99 for dinner at Le Cellier. For kids, it ranges $21 at Regal Eagle and Spice Road Table, and all the way up to $50 for Akershus at lunch and dinner. And Regal Eagle is still the only restaurant that will offer same-day package options, where you can just go to the restaurant, you get the dining package allotment thing, and then they charge you that price.
Okay.
So, what do you think about a dining package? Do you think it's worth it for Food and Wine?
Honestly, no. I mean, not unless you. I mean, listen. If you are a giant Hoobastank fan,
giant.
I mean, and if you're a grown adult saying, "I would like 2 tickets to Hoobastank," which I just always felt that name was funny. Mm-hmm. I suppose this would be worth it, but I don't know. Even the year Kenny G was there, we got I think it was the 3rd or 4th show, but we literally were 4th row. So I
personally don't think it's worth it.
It probably depends. I suppose if it was somebody who's going to have a lot of people waiting, you didn't want to wait in line. But I suppose it also means that if you want to see it early in the night, I feel like later in the night you don't have to. I don't know. To me, it's you just don't have to wait. Plus, it's an outdoor auditorium, so you could technically just stand there.
That's true.
And it's not like the concerts are what are they 30 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
It's not long, so I don't know. Me personally, I think I would save some money and just watch it from afar.
The only time I ever think that these dining packages are for real worth it is for Candlelight Processional, because those do fill up the theaters. True.
I mean, if Kurt Russell's there.
I don't know if he's there this year.
He's probably not, but I'm saying.
But those are, yeah. But I think it's worth it for candlelight processional. I mean, it might be worth it to you for the Eat to the Beat dining package is if it's like a date night thing or it's someone you really want to see and you're just like, okay, I don't, like Jared said, I don't want to wait.
Let me get my Hubestink shirt out.
Standby line and I want a closer seat to the stage, then okay, go for it. You know, for us though, we would rather spend our money elsewhere. Just like go to actual dinner at that place maybe and then spend money elsewhere. So.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, did you know Yellow Card was the band that they used a violin? I don't know if you remember that or not.
They use a violin?
Yeah, they're like one of those. I actually like Yellow Card. I do feel old now that some of these bands were like in the early 2000s. Now they're showing up at Epcot, which means like it's like sure. It's like Branson, Missouri. If you got a show in Branson, it's like you're obviously not touring anymore.
Yeah,
but maybe they are. But Yellow Card was like one of those punk alt rock bands, but they had a violin. All those bands at that time had a little bit of like a different take about them. And Yellow Cards, they used a violin. I remember like Taking Back Sunday had like 2 frontmen, stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, basically like Garden Rocks is very Gen X friendly.
Right.
And I would say Eat to the Beat is very elder millennial friendly.
Elder millennial?
Yeah. If you're born between like 1981 to 90.
You need to watch your mouth. That's
okay.
Disrespectful.
You're an elder millennial.
You called me an elder?
You're an elder millennial.
First off,
you were born in the
you
first
called
part
me
of that.
2 derogatory terms right back to back. Elder and millennial. I feel like I don't know what I did to you.
I don't know.
I've done nothing but love and support you. So I don't know.
Your brain is crazy today.
I don't know where this aggression's coming from, but I don't appreciate it.
Anyway, this starts in August, and then dining packages go on sale on Tuesday. So
they do, yes, and you can get your Hubestink tickets.
Yes.
Really early. All right. All right, last bit of news we have is that Rockin' Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios has reopened almost 4 weeks ahead of time, shockingly. Mm-hmm. On the downside, it still has Aerosmith.
Yep, no theme change as expected, but they did make a few small changes here and there. For example, they added, what's his face? Steven Tyler, his little scarves to the microphone.
I love those scarves.
I'm just saying, it's just little changes like that.
I love how somebody rode this ride. They're like, it's really bugging me. What's wrong, Rich? It's just not authentic to Aerosmith. Why? What happened? See those microphone stands? Yeah. They don't have Steven's scarves. It ruins it for me. They're like, shut it down. Fix it.
Shut it down.
Scarf it up.
Scarf it up?
Yeah, put the scarf. And they were like, that's not the right scarf, Rick. We're like, well, you got to go get him from Steven. And so they went to Steven's house. That's why it took so long. They got ahead of schedule because he shipped them a little earlier.
He didn't get to ride on his birthday this year either.
Oh my gosh. Well, if he would have got the scarves in earlier.
That was the only thing that was keeping them. Just the scarves.
I can imagine.
Scarves.
I think they're just happy they're still a part of the ride.
Probably. Probably.
Every time they get a call, they're like, are we off the ride yet? Like, oh, no, you're good. Like, oh, sweet.
Love it. Featuring Aerosmith. Yes. Still there.
How much longer do you think it will stay featuring Aerosmith? Like, realistically speaking.
I have no clue. I have no clue. I mean,
like in 10 years, do you think it's still Aerosmith?
The fact that it's always been Aerosmith,
I know,
is I don't know if they'll ever change it.
When did they introduce it as Aerosmith?
When did that open? 96? 96?
Like I feel like at this point, there's a lot of people that like let's say you're brand new to come to the parks. And you go to ride this, and they're like, Aerosmith. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that would just have a question mark of like, oh, okay.
Okay, so I did look, and it opened in July of 1999. So it's been around for 25 years.
So we were terrified of Y2K. And
25 years.
That wasn't too long after, like, Armageddon, though.
You mean Armageddon?
They were probably riding that Armageddon soundtrack high.
Honestly, yeah, they probably were.
Mm-hmm.
They were still making a lot of music then in the 90s.
That's true.
So, but you're right. The fact that they haven't rethemed it ever, it's always been Aerosmith, leads me to believe that it will probably always be Aerosmith. And if they redo whatever's in that space, they'll just completely retheme it. Like it won't be like you're going to anybody's concert. It'll be something.
Although,
different.
you know, one thing they could put in here, and there is precedent for it, that would make this ride probably immediately become like a 3-hour wait ride.
What?
Is if they put like Taylor Swift in it.
Oh my gosh.
And given they have that, like they already, they have that Disney Plus deal for concerts. Like if they put I'm not saying I listen, like Swifties love her, but if you put Taylor Swift in this ride, you wouldn't have to do anything else to it. Just feature her. This thing would be 3-hour wait.
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
You'd have parks full of Swifties, but just saying.
Parks full of Swifties. I don't know.
You wouldn't be able to get a picture in front of Hollywood Tower of Terror because they would all be in that street taking selfies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you would have plenty of people come to the park, so I don't know. All right.
It's a weird idea. I'm not going to lie.
I don't think it's that. Is it any weirder than putting Aerosmith in the ride?
Yeah, because it's rock and roller coaster. It's fast. Okay, shoots you out. Taylor Swift is not that vibe.
Well, okay. We're also talking about the fact that Disney is known to retheme things, correct?
Yeah.
They've been known to do this.
Yeah.
So you take the whole track. You just don't call it rock and roller coaster. You would just call it like Swiftin' with Swifty. I don't know. And then you just keep the same ride track. And then you just make a new story up.
I don't see that happening, Jared.
Listen, you can doubt this. I'm not saying I want this. All I'm saying is we live in a world where Aerosmith is featured on a major attraction in Disney World. Mm-hmm. Anything's possible, good or bad.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
That's their cue to move on, right? Let's move on to the next thing.
You're just moving on because you're like, wow, he's making some good points. I better get out of here.
Sure. I
better change the subject to the fact that Jamie has a poll time.
Poll time.
It's poll time. Tell us what you think. Every opinion counts. Come on and link. We're discussing it all. We're taking a stance. Poll time's the segment. Let's give it a chance.
If you guys aren't watching the show, you're missing out on Jamie dancing during this segment.
I think it's a fun song.
I still like the 80s rock version of the theme song that we have.
But this gives me Disney Channel.
It is very
vibes.
Disney Channel. It is very Disney Channel.
That's why I like it. All right, so my poll time this week was talking about the new Lightning Lane multi-pass and single pass system. I asked which of these changes are most appealing to you for the ever-evolving skip the line system at Walt Disney World. And I said choose all that apply. So looks like we got 53% said the advanced selection ahead of my trip gives me peace of mind and less stress on the morning of my park days. 23% said more advantage is given to those staying on property with the 7-day advanced selection versus 3 days for everyone else. 16% said being able to make your selections before purchasing. And then 5% said I can buy multi-pass and single pass in one transaction. And then 3% said the terminology is easier to understand and use. So highly respected that they brought back the advanced selection. I think that was a good move, at least in my opinion. I know some people don't agree, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I would like to talk to the 3% who think the terminology is easier, but I feel like it's just even. So I did when it first came out, I did a video on YouTube, and you get, obviously real-time feedback on YouTube. A lot of people, honestly, I think a lot of people are still upset that it's no longer FastPass Plus and it's free, which I get. I guess I look at it in a world where, like, sure, in an ideal world, FastPass Plus would just come back as it was and it would be free. But given at least current leadership, it's not going to happen. They make too much money off of it.
I was going to say, you know how much money they made on Genie Plus?
The revenue is they're not going to. Like,
no way.
And I guess the only thing I would say is I never actually thought that they would take back hotel parking. But they did that. Mm-hmm. But that's easier.
Good.
That's also easier to just build into the cost of the room as well. But
oh my gosh, by the way, just to veer off a little bit, I looked at hotel rates for this Christmas. Mm-hmm. I like the rack rates are so high, and then they do the discounts, so they give you like 35, 30, 20 whatever % discount off. But I'm telling you, those rack rates are insane because they're building everything into the price. And all the prices go up every year, but I was flabbergasted.
Well, they're also, they're running deals earlier than usual for like Christmas time.
But the deals aren't that great, even with the discount. I'm telling you.
I know, but I'm saying those deals will probably get better if the bookings are not looking good. Would be my guess.
Maybe.
But on this point here, I forget what I was initially saying. What was I initially saying?
We're surprised they brought parking back. No,
that's what I was saying. So I think a lot of people are still mad about that. Now, it's hard to like. Some people are asking like what we think about it. It's going to be hard to know until like it goes live and you actually try it out. Because the biggest question that I have, and I think a lot of people have, is how does that 7-day for resort guests versus 3 days for everybody else? How does that work? Do
That's
the
a
people that have the
lot, yeah.
3-day, are they able to actually have any choices here? I would assume they would. The fact that they have the tiers, I suppose, like where you can't stack anymore.
That was the main complaint
tiers.
in this was evening stacking.
But I think they did that. You would think, and again, if they're going to sell as a product, you have to allow the people with the 3-day ability to still book stuff they want. You know what I mean? So
I think it'll be more limited. I think.
for sure. I mean, they're obviously trying to get you to stay in the resorts, stuff like that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, I think there's a lot of elements we talked about in the other episode, like a lot of it's going back to FastPass Plus, which I think is a better move. But we'll have to see if how it currently is. I have a feeling they're going to tweak it a bit, if I were to guess.
Yeah, and I understand that it's not as ideal now for those that like to just not know what they're doing until the day of. Those people are like, oh, I loved Genie Plus for that reason. Get up and then I just go to the parks and get Genie Plus, buy it on the day.
But most people that do a Disney vacation aren't those people, though, I would say.
I agree. And I think that like most people, when they are vacationing, they really like knowing which rides they're going to be able to do for sure.
Well, I think, too, also not having to wake up every morning, you know what I mean? Like stay up late to buy it, wake up in the morning and start doing like I think it's just a bad, it's just a bad way to spend your vacation. And I think I left a lot of people not wanting to come back. I mean, there was a ton of people that, again, on the YouTube comments that were saying, I just got back and it was so draining having to do it like every single morning. And then there's a lot of pressure too of like, usually it's the moms that are booking all this stuff and you don't get something people want and you let people down. Like it's just at least I do completely agree having this stuff planned out more ahead of time, I think it's more conducive to a vacation.
More conducive to a Disney vacation. Especially.
Well, in terms of just being able to like, I mean, not that it's relaxing necessarily at Disney, but at least you don't have to like, I don't know. I feel like waking up frantically trying to get things first thing in the morning is a bad way to wake up.
But if you're doing virtual queue, you still got to get up.
I know. That's one thing too. I mean, you still have to for that. And that's again, I suppose this is better. It used to be for if you wanted like Rise of the Resistance, you had to go into the park. Mm-hmm. Then you had to be on your phone and you would literally see people in the park at the same time all on their phone trying to get a virtual queue. You'd see some people yay happy, some people mad, and then people would mass leave the park if they didn't get it.
Right.
At least this way, it's better. You don't have to like physically go into the park just to be disappointed. So I think this is a better system than that.
Well, sure.
But yeah, not perfect though.
Not perfect, but lot more sleep, I think, on your trip, and you know what you're going to be able to do. So thank you, everybody, for participating in the poll this week. I will have a new poll next week.
Yes, if you can be part of the next poll time, you can do that by either joining the Captain Magic Facebook community or over on Instagram at Captain Magic. Jimmy posts in the stories over there. So
I do.
Either or both you can do there. There you go. All right. Well, let's move on to our segment. I guess you could call it our public service segment about staying cool, how to stay cool in the parks.
And we don't mean cool like, wearing a hat and, certain clothes, like fashionable stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to need different notes then because that's exactly what I was talking about.
Oh, you didn't think I meant like...
No, I thought you
like
meant
the cool person that's
looking
cool?
good in the parks. Because you told me I was a cool guy.
You were a cool guy.
And I was
but
supposed
that's
to
not what this one is about.
All right, I'll just think of stuff off the fly.
As I like to say, beat the heat. How do you beat the heat?
That's a good one.
What's a good one?
I don't know. I'm going to play this song. Here we go.
Burning. We're in the zone.
Listen, that's what I said. I like that one the best.
Okay.
I feel
That was just a random time to
I'm
play
a
the
random
song.
person. There was silence. We can't have silence. Dead air is bad.
Didn't like
and
the
I filled it. No, dead air is bad.
So have silence.
Yeah. So I played a little bit of a ditty. So there you go.
Anyway,
I
can
still
we,
have the Jared
can we
rap I can
start
do.
this
yes,
segment,
we can
sir?
start it fine. All right. Tips on staying cool in the parks physically, not how you look apparently.
Yep.
So
That's
number
right.
one, is going to come as a complete shock. And I want everybody to hold their, just if you're in your car, make sure your seatbelts are on. If you're sitting on public transportation, grab onto the seat in front of you. But the first one would be stay hydrated and drink water. I know, sounds crazy, but
Yep. That's it. That's the big one.
Although into that, I would say, I think, no, you say that and you think, well, duh, Jared. And to you, I would say, well, hold your horses, because a lot of
horses are very heavy. I can't hold them.
Well, get a better stable. So I don't know what that means.
I can't carry them. They're too heavy.
A lot of people, though, when you get busy on your trip, like just forget to drink water. Like, you know, a lot of people would bring it with them, but you'd be surprised the amount of people that have issues, or you'll hear about them talking about, like, you know, they're having a heat stroke and they're like, when's the last time you drank water? Oh, it was like at noon and it's 6 o'clock. You know, they go a long time. It's easy to do. You get busy, you're excited, you're doing stuff. The last thing you're thinking about is drinking water. But one thing I always tell people is I call it pre-hydration.
Oh,
it's kind of a trick we would do in sports a lot. So it's not only drinking water, but it's also like you can add Himalayan, like pink salt. Like it is now. This isn't medical advice. Talk to your doctors, but it helps you absorb more water with things like that. So I would always. You drink a lot of water, like right in the morning when you wake up.
Okay.
So you've got like, you know,
you got reserves.
You got it in your system, and that way, if you know you don't drink some for a while, you're good. You still want to drink water throughout the day, but you could drink a lot of water first thing in the morning. Plus, if you don't want to deal with breakfast, if you drink a lot of water, you're going to be full. So there's that as well.
Yeah. Well, staying hydrated, I would always recommend bringing a refillable water bottle. We do this sometimes. Our kids do it every time. I have a simple modern Trek tumbler that is an amazing option. I think it's better than a Stanley. Don't bring a Stanley in. These don't leak, and the ice literally will stay. I think we were in the parks for like 10 hours one time, and it was in the car in the heat. And when we got back to the car, ice was still there.
Actually, you have left that thing. I believe in the car it was like for 3 days in a row.
Oh, was it 3 days?
And there was still ice in it. So I can attest to the fact that it does keep its cool very well.
So those what do they call it? Double barrel?
I don't know what magic they put in that thing.
Yeah, those are great to bring in. They're heavy and they do take up some space, but we have a stroller, so we just put in the stroller. Quick service locations also have cups of water that you can grab when you can. Casey's Corner has water outside sometimes, especially when it's really hot, that you can just grab. If you don't want Florida water,
you go Starbucks, you can get free water in there that it's filtered.
It's filtered. And they have refill stations across all the parks, all the resorts, Disney Springs. They don't have them at Typhoon Lagoon, but they have them everywhere else. So Magic Kingdom, they have 3 locations: Tron Bathrooms, Pinocchio Village House, and Cosmic Rays. And then Epcot has 8 places. Hollywood Studios has 9. Animal Kingdom has 5. There's 1 at Disney Springs. And then, like I said, each resort has at least 1. So that is an option. And again, it, may not taste the best depending on where you're getting it from, but, at least it's water.
They have those water bottles you can get that have a filter in them. Or you could also just add like flavor packets to water as well. But one thing you
still taste the sulfur. Ugh. I'm just a water snob.
At the end of the day, you just chug it and you move on.
Okay.
That's what we used to do.
All right.
Because fountain water, probably not. It's probably got some sulfur in it. But one thing I actually typically do is I just throw bottled waters in the bottom of the stroller, and I think in my head, I chug 1 per hour.
Yeah,
I don't sip on the water. I just chug it. And then I just move along. So it keeps, like by the end of the day, if we're there for like 4 hours, I've drinking at least 3 or 4 of them. So
yeah. Okay. And keep in mind that we don't tour the parks typically. Like a family coming in for like a week, we're there for a couple hours, especially in the summer. We're not there very long. So we don't have to put like 20 bottles in the bottom. Or do we?
There's a ton of water in the bottom of our stroller, probably mostly because we have the kids who insist on it being with ice.
Yeah, they have to have it cold.
So if you've ever had that challenge in the middle of Florida in the summer of having ice water at all times.
And if you do need to order water, you can choose a grocery delivery service to send it to your hotel room, or you can bring it with you if you're driving, whatever. But that is an option.
Yes. One thing I would say, I guess the next tip would be about, I think the reason most people get like heat stroke and things like that is some of it is they're not acclimated to the heat. So if you're going on a trip, and in most places it's warmer, like go outside before your trip, walk, kind of get used to the heat a bit. Now I will say it's not the heat in Florida that'll get you, it's the humidity.
It'll get you.
It's like a wet, warm blanket you didn't ask for on you all the time.
Yep.
So it can get on you quicker for sure. I've been in Vegas when it's been 120 degrees and it doesn't feel that hot. Like I'm sure it's still hot, but you can be in Florida, it can be 88 degrees and it feels like it's 120. It's just it will just sit on you different. So which means you're going to sweat more, which means you're going to lose more water. So I would say get acclimated to it before you leave if you can, just so your first day. I mean, a lot of people go from not doing much, all of a sudden they go on vacation and they're walking a ton. That can lead to it as well. You're just not used to it. Plus it's hot. Plus you're not drinking water. That's just a recipe to basically have some issues.
But what about if you say you live in Canada and it's cold? It's 40 degrees or 30 degrees. But in Florida, it's 80. What do you do then?
Well, I said if possible.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
If that,
it's not possible for everybody, Jared.
Take some ingenuity, build a sauna, get used to the heat.
Oh my gosh.
Take some action here, people.
Yeah. On that note, acclimating to the heat if you can.
I said if you can.
Our tip, especially July, August, September, do not stay in the parks all day. Like, just try not to do that. It's way too hot. Take a midday break at least during the hottest hours of the day.
Oh, I don't want to be in the parks midday.
No.
It is the worst. I've done it before. It's terrible.
The best solution, the best way I know how to do it in the summer in Florida is to visit the parks in the mornings, in the evenings, afternoons. Get out of there. Get out of there. Best option. Get to the parks for a rope drop. Have lunch around noon in the park or at a resort. Get out of the heat.
Don't tell people where to eat lunch.
Go back to the hotel right after lunch, rest, swim, nap, whatever. Return to the parks around 6 and then stay until closing. Sounds like a great time.
Do we do this every single time? No.
Well, we don't, but we don't.
Typically, yes, I would say. You know what? I would say from especially noon to like 5, I want nothing to do with being in a theme park in the middle of the summer.
Nope.
It's
terrible.
It's very, very warm.
Yeah.
To put it that way. That's the worst part of the day.
No, you call it, what do you call it? It's oppressive.
Oh, it is oppressively hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would agree with that sentiment there. Well, speaking on that, I would also say in your midday break, like go swimming.
Swim.
If you're staying at a Motel 6, don't go swim there. Don't do it.
Maybe not.
You don't know what's happening in that pool. But if you're staying at a nice place or moderate place, go swimming midday. It's a nice get out of the, you're still in the sun, but at least you're in water. You can chill out, at least for and kids love pools.
They love pools.
Many kids will say the favorite part of their vacation was the pool itself. So,
I've heard that many times from parents saying, our kids like the pool the most. I was like, what?
I'm not really sure. Kids love pools. Like when I was a kid, like a pool was like a novelty, amazing thing. So just take advantage of that. Get in there. Like at least if the kids are swimming, depending on their age, you can sit there and have a drink or two and just.
Well, they have the activities too for the kids.
If you're staying on resort.
If you're staying at a resort. Yep.
That's true.
The games. And the pool, it's also good to do night swims. So if let's say you don't want to go back to the park in the evening, you just have dinner or want to go back, swim at night. It's still warm enough to be able to do that.
I actually prefer that. You don't have to worry about sunscreen and the hot and the heat, and you can just I don't know what it is. It reminds me of just the summer is swimming at night. I enjoy that a lot.
Me too. And
the pool's open until about, was it 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, depending on
it depends. I think it's 11-ish. Depends on the resort, but something like that.
Yeah. I guess would go along with, your midday break is try and build in breaks when you can.
Little tiny breaks in the middle of
at least to get out of the heat, or at least if it's cutting through, like if you're on Main Street, cut through, Casey's Corner in the Emporium, like take the AC in and stuff like that. Like, I think especially in Florida, you'll be amazed at how it'll feel different. Like if there's cloud cover.
Oh my gosh.
And all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, wow, that's not bad. And then the minute that sun comes out, it is like it jumps 20 degrees and you're just like, it's oppressively hot. So just finding places to at least take cover from the sun, I think is good. It'll at least help you to at least not feel so just baked on the entire time.
Well, we went to Magic Kingdom on last Wednesday for Stitch Day, 626 Day. And I waited in line. I was in the line for 90 minutes to meet Stitch in the heat, in the direct sun for about an hour of that. It was pretty miserable. Not going to lie. I hated it, but I did it for our children.
I said it's not worth it.
Well, it wasn't up to you. It wasn't your.
I know.
wasn't
I'm
your
just
thing.
saying.
And you took them on to do stuff while I waited. I was like, this is something I'm doing for them. I will wait, and I did. Did I like it? No, but I did it.
You got the picture. I was just saying it was. Very
But the
hot
heat
today.
was bad. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's not a lot. I
Right.
mean, in some of those lines, sometimes there's umbrellas. But let's say you're in like Toy Story Land. I guess that's another tip. Avoid Toy Story Land from noon to about 5. It is terrible in there. There's no
great.
shade. It's just no. I mean, you other than Toy Story Mania, you have no AC in lines.
Yep.
I'd say do Toy Story Land first thing in the morning or later at night. And it
Yeah.
looks cool. I think it looks better later at night. So
Yeah, it
that's when
does.
I would save Toy
Story.
I would save Toy Story Land for then.
Okay. And also, if you don't decide to take a midday break, at least do a table service restaurant in the middle of the day. Like 2:00, do a late lunch so you're inside for a little bit so your body can just rest from all that heat. Like, please do that. Or go into the Dumbo play area if you've got little kids.
Actually, that was one I was going to bring up. Is
Yeah.
The Dumbo play. Yeah.
That's also a good one.
You get some AC. The kids can run around a little bit.
We pretty much only do that when it's in the summer. I was thinking about that. We don't really utilize that in the winter for them. But our daughter's getting a little older for that, and our son still enjoys it, though. So
The only bad part about that one is when you get out of there, you're riding Dumbo directly in the sun.
True.
But at least the queues and things are in the shade, so you do have that aspect to it. But
Yep.
let's see. The next one, I would say there are splash pads for like this is more for kids probably, but they have splash pads and water rides you can take advantage of. You have Casey's Junior's Soak Station, Magic Kingdom, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. If it's running, you can do that.
Epcot, they've got the refreshment station. It has that misting area, that cool misting thing. They also have one at Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland, the misting thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice too. Epcot also has a small splash pad in World Discovery area. Moana Journey of Water, also a good thing to do.
That would be honestly in Epcot. That would be where I would go.
Journey of Water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just a giant, and you can have
And you're entertained.
That's true.
Hollywood Studios, I could not think of any. Can you
That's
think of
because
any?
there is none.
There's no like water anything.
I don't believe so. I don't know where
Okay.
it would be.
That's the other thing. I was trying to rack my memory. I was like, is there anything? And I really don't think there is. I mean, I guess you can go around the water with Gertie and hope to get some mist from the.
That's
little
just
pond.
that's just called humidity.
Oh, okay.
I don't
got
think
it.
that's misting.
And then Animal Kingdom has Cali River Rapids. That's the. I mean, you're gonna get soaked on that, but I mean, it's gonna feel good for a little bit.
And then you get off there and you are in a bowl. And
You're in a
it's-
bowl.
Animal Kingdom feels about 10
heat.
degrees hotter than it already is.
Mm-hmm.
That's Animal
Yeah.
Kingdom. That's for one. Animal Kingdom needs to be open later because I feel like more people would go there when it's
Yes.
dark because that park. I don't know if you guys know, it's kind of built in a bowl a bit.
Yeah.
Because people will talk about that like it feels hotter. Well, it's because you're basically like all that heat just sort of sets in on you, and it feels a little hotter there. So
Well, you'll notice too. So, like when you're coming in from the parking lot, you kind of go down. You go down toward security, and then you kind of level out when you enter the park. You go up a little bit when you go through Oasis, but then when you get to the Tree of Life area, then you literally go down. And so, yeah, it does form a little bowl. But yeah, Animal Kingdom needs to be open later. Like, if you're really going to take advantage of Animal Kingdom when it's not hot, the only time to do that is if it's early in the morning at like 7 a.m.
yeah.
or, after 7 o'clock.
Well, and Pandora is cool at night too.
It is. People don't get to really experience it that much
That's true.
lately. So
They do not, but
Yep.
yeah, those are the places that have water aspects in them. But
that
you,
I can think of. I can't think of anything else.
but you could visit a water park if
could.
that is something you want to do. I mean, obviously it's cooler. They have Typhoon Lagoon is the one that is currently open, and they have like H2O Glow Nights. Now you did that last year. That's a cool it's not during midday, so at least you don't have that aspect of the heat.
Yeah, it was I think it was 3 hours, lasted 3 hours. And it was, I think we did it around Labor Day. Our daughter and I went, and it was a blast because it was still warm like during the night, but it wasn't to the point like until like it was almost 11 o'clock when we got done, and it was starting to get a little cool with the water and like being out of the water and stuff. But no, it was fantastic. So I definitely recommend doing H2O Glow Nights and Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach if it's ever open in the summer.
Well, they're never going to be open at the same time ever again, I don't
Never
think.
again. Probably not.
I actually won't be surprised if one of those parks doesn't stick around.
You think they close one of them?
I don't know. I mean, they keep alternating them, so clearly
do.
they don't need two at the same time.
I mean, that's a good point. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Next thing on our list is you could eat. This is Jamie's. I don't really know what you mean by this. Eat cool snacks.
Cool, not cool like popular. Cool as in like will cool you down. So Dole Whip treats, Mickey ice cream bar, ice cream treats in general. I think of the gelato in Italy, the ice cream martini even in France. You know, cold stuff that'll cool you down.
True. I will say, you know, if you partake in this, there's nothing. When it gets hot, I don't know what it is, but like a good cold beer tastes fantastic.
I knew that's where you're going.
You knew that's where I was going.
I knew you were going for the ice cold beer.
I'm just saying, when it's hot, that's all what I tend to want. Now, I will say, beer does not hydrate you. So if you are going to partake in one of those, be sure to drink water as well, because they will actually dehydrate you. But it does feel very nice to have one on a very hot day.
I mean, I'll take your word for it. I don't like beer, so.
Well, or another, a cold beverage of whatever you would like. It tends to be good. So now one thing I would say is an important aspect other than just drinking water is the type, appropriate clothing or gear, you could say. I use sunglasses, and I know some people don't like sunglasses. At least in Florida, like sunglasses help with the glare and just being so like bright all the time.
So bright.
But I've tried different ones. I would always say at least wear a hat in general. I played baseball my whole life, so hats do help you in terms of like just shading your head a bit.
Yeah, my forehead gets really hot and it gets burned super easily. So if I'm not wearing a hat in the summer, then I have to like slather on that sunscreen so much. So you really won't catch me wearing mouse ears or not a hat in the summer very much. I mostly go hat.
You can go with, and I've used them before, those big giant hats that have the brims that will like also shield your neck. They're not a bad idea. I mean, questionable in terms of fashion, I suppose, but in terms of keeping the sun off of you, they do work. So there is that. And some of them have like the one I have has the like you get it in water and it's got the cooling aspect to it. Feels great. Now, granted, I shave my head, so it feels even better with that. If you don't want to mess up your hair, you're in Florida in the summer. I don't know what to tell you. Your hair's gonna get messed up, but that helps. Types of shirts. I don't know if I'd wear like full on 100% cotton shirts.
Quick drying tops and shorts. Don't wear denim. Don't wear jean shorts.
I mean, jean shorts look cool though. They can.
Because I'm also thinking about the middle of the day or afternoon rain showers. If you get caught in a shower and you don't have the right like gear for that, you could get your clothes wet. And then if you're wearing like jeans or jean shorts, that they don't dry very fast.
Yeah, but then you have built-in AC all day because they're still wet.
But then there's a lot of that. There's chafing. There's chafing involved in that.
Listen, I'm not trying to tell you do what you want to do, everybody, but I probably would not do it. I don't understand the people. I've seen these. They're mostly teenagers that wear hoodies in the summer and like pants.
Oh, I don't know.
And acting like they're not hot. Like if you're
it's like a fashion thing.
If you're wearing that and you're acting like, no, I'm fine, there's something wrong. You're not feeling like there's something wrong with your nerves or something.
It's a teenager thing. Yeah, it definitely is.
I understand rebelling. Listen, I don't like being told what to do, but I also just don't rebel against things like, weather.
Right.
Like, I'm fine. Like, it's 112, sir, and you're wearing 3 shirts and a hoodie. Anyways. I would say now one thing I always recommend I've always hated wet socks.
Mm-hmm. You hate wet socks.
So it's like if it's going to rain, especially in the summer,
or if you do water rides,
right? So I go with my shoes. I wear, they're not Crocs. They're like tennis shoe looking type of Croc shoes, but they're called cane footwear. I have multiple pairs. I love them. They're good for like whatever working out in day to day, theme parks. I love them. So I wear those all the time. I don't have to worry about that. And it is a little cooler as well in terms of your feet don't get as hot. So that does help in the summertime. I would say those.
Okay.
Those are the shoes. The shoes I would recommend. you know, you can also do things. Jamie is a big fan of like the cooling fans.
I do have a neck fan. I know some people don't like those, like Jared, but that does help at least cool down my neck and my face. And then there's the misting fan, which you like. You like that misting personal fan.
I mean, it's better than just a. Yeah, I feel like all the fans, like when you're in the heat. Now, the fans are, if you're in the shade, it's not too bad. But if you're like walking around the parks, I just feel like it's just warm air being blown on me a bit, even the misting ones. But
oh, remember we saw that ad for that water bottle that mists and you could drink out of it?
yeah, I don't know how
It'll
well that
mist
works.
you.
I mean, you're basically just spraying water on your face, which is better than nothing. But
right. But I mean, like,
it's true.
it's
you can.
helpful.
There's all sorts of things you can find like on Amazon as well that can help with that. I mean, one thing I would say, cooling towels. Actually, I would say one of the things that do help the most in terms of how you feel are cooling towels. If you get those and like get them wet, put them around your neck, or put them on your head, those will legitimately like cool you down a bit. And that, I guess that would go into like if you feel yourself getting overheated, like let's say you're walking around and so, like if you don't know the warning signs, like I can tell you like without having an issue, be like, oh, I need to drink some water. Like guys, I've had issues where all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I turn my head and I feel a little dizzy or like you feel overheated. So before it gets into the danger area, and this is where cooling towels reminded me of this. So one thing you can do, try and cool down on the base of your neck. So what I would do, if you feel yourself getting overheated, get in shade. If you have a cooling towel or an ice pack or something, put that on the base of your neck. Obviously, drink some water. You can also put some on top of your head. Those will cool you down the quickest. You can also put it on your wrists, on the inside of your wrists.
Okay.
So basically, it's like major artery points. If you did that, it'll help cool you down. You'll see people that are suffering from heat stroke. You'll see they'll do that with them. They'll lay them down and have them do that.
I was gonna say if you're older too, if you're older than say 60, I'd say you're at more of a risk of overheating heat stroke. So definitely take all of these like things into consideration and stay hydrated. Get out of the heat. You know, lots of AC, lots of breaks. Don't try to keep up with the youngins, if you will.
Well.
Go at your own
I
pace.
think honestly what a lot of this comes down to, at least what I would say, is like know your limits. Understand like where you're at. You know, if you're somebody that's really active in things and maybe I think that's the thing. If you exercise a lot, you do know your limits. You kind of know like, oh, I need to cool off. But if you don't move around a lot, you're going on vacation that requires you to move around a lot, you may not know exactly like what your limits are, what you're used to, and it's really easy for it to catch up on you in that sense. And I guess I should say right now, if you're thinking, why should we listen to you? Be quiet, Jared. The only thing I will say, you don't have to listen to me. I'm not saying I know everything. All I'm saying is I used to be a personal trainer, ACSM certified. So I do understand this stuff to a degree. So take it or leave it. But I just want to put that caveat out there for that. But
well, last of the accessories I do want to mention real quick is that don't knock it, but get your umbrella out. Block that sun from getting to you. It's not raining, whatever. Who cares? Get your umbrella out.
Honestly,
take shade.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? I know some people are like, oh, that's lame. It's not lame. You're being safe.
I mean, it does. If you can be in shade, it'll at the very least feel cooler. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's the thing that drains you the most. You have the humidity, and then you just have that sun that's just beating down on you the whole time. So if you can, alleviate that to an extent, that will definitely help you.
Yes, it will.
For sure.
And then one thing I do want to mention, and I don't know if this is kind of confusing the way I wrote it, but when you're making your lightning lane selections, obviously going forward and starting in July, starting July 24th, actually, you'll be able to do them in advance. So something to think about is to choose rides based on their cues or if they're outdoor. So like Slinky Dog Dash, all outdoor queue. So
it's inside.
Standing
Some of it's inside.
It's not inside.
I mean,
it's not inside.
It's shaded.
Okay, shaded also.
It's hot. You're not in direct sun, but yeah, okay.
But it's also like a lot of people, and sometimes it's hard to get air in. So
there's no airflow in there. That's true.
Yeah, so I'd say Slinky Dog, save that for early morning or late at night. Same thing with Alien Swirling Saucers. It's not as bad, but it's again all outdoors. Tomorrowland Speedway sucks. Like
it's the worst.
It's the worst.
You have the sun beating down on you. Plus, you have the hot exhaust from go-karts around you.
Yes.
And you don't have any shade when you're on the go-karts. That one, for sure, is like midday is rough.
Yeah. Same thing with Astro Orbiter and like even People Mover. If it's got a long line, it can get hot in that line because it's all outside.
Mm-hmm.
Jungle Cruise is another one. there are so many people in that little space of just winding back and forth, that it should like it's hard to get air in there too. So again, early morning, late at night, rides like that. Teacups maybe too. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of rides that are just mostly outside.
Shaded for the most part, but it's hot.
Yeah.
I will say, if you need a midday break, if you're feeling kind of hot, you need a nap, Carousel Progress is great. It's inside.
it.
You take yourself a 20-minute nap.
Yep. Show like that. Hall of Presidents, PhilharMagic, American Adventure Show and Epcot. Any of the shows at World Showcase will do.
Yeah, Epcot is it's its own like animal. I mean, Epcot is not friendly in that terms of not even like the World Showcase. But you have pavilions you can go into at least over there. But like, the new Communicore Hall or Communicore Plaza. I mean, the Communicore Plaza is a nightmare midday. There is no shade.
Yeah.
But you do have, I suppose, in that sense, Communicore Hall. Maybe that's why they did it that way. You appreciate Communicore Hall because it's giant AC with chairs, and it is nice. And they do keep it cold in there, so you do have that. But yeah, all in all, I mean, really, like, obviously there's probably more tips you could come up with, but for us speaking, like, especially with our kids too, I'm always on the kids about making sure they're drinking water, because
that's probably the number one
kids,
thing.
especially like little kids, like, they have a hard time sweating enough, and like they can't always verbalize if they're feeling too hot and things like that. So I always like make our kids like drink some water, like every so often. Like when I stop to drink water, I make them drink water. But our kids are actually pretty good about drinking water. So obviously know your children, but.
But if your kids are looking like they're really lethargic, pink cheeks, stuff like that, then you get them inside and get them some water. Yes,
and you can they have packets like I know some people like those liquid IV stuff and things like that. Those things they will help you stay hydrated. The main thing is like I guess I always tell people this too. Like I like my coffee first thing in the morning. But coffee will dehydrate you if you like drink a lot of coffee. So if you do drink coffee, be sure to follow it up and drink some water after that. Because again, if it's going to be a really hot day, and let's say you're going to be there all day, just the easiest thing you can do is just drink at least a little bit of water like every hour. At least, or try and remember to. But that's all. I can't think of any other tips. That's all I can think of. You got anything else?
I don't. I mean, that's generally speaking, that's pretty much. Things to remember. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I for us, like midday breaks are the number one thing I love doing. I don't like being we were there in the parks midday we went on a day trip, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's so hot.
Well, a tip you could do is if you could take a couple water bottles and just freeze them, if you have the opportunity to do that, and then put them in your stroller or your bag or whatever, and then throughout the day, if you're getting really hot, just put them around your body to like cool you down.
Oh, okay. Because you can't so if you want to bring stuff into the parks, you can't bring loose ice. I know that sounds weird, but you can't bring that if they say you have a cooler. If you do freeze some water bottles, A, you can drink them later, and B, that can help you keep other things. Like if you want to bring in, like, say, some soda pop, stuff like that, you can.
Or like food, like.
Right. You can do that and then also drink it. So that's a tip, I guess, if you could do that, is like, bring stuff that's cold that way. And then you have something really cold to press against your head when you're walking around.
Yes.
But all right, that's all the tips I got. Get anything else?
I don't think so. Not the moment.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode. Again, be sure to check us out on the socials at Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok. We're at Capture the Magic. And again, over on YouTube at CTM Podcast, where you can catch video versions of the show and show clips. And we also have other shows on the network. We have the CTM Universal Show, where we talk about Universal Studios, and that is right now, it is twice a month. And we'll probably have a new episode next week, as we'll be talking about the new parade that is premiering over at Universal. We had one just this week where we talked about all the details in Dark Universe that were announced for Epic Universe. So you can check that out on this feed or its own feed as well. And Jamie also has Trip Tales, which is her trip report show. And when's the next one there coming out?
Probably not until early August. We've had some scheduling things, and it looks like I'll have 2 come out in August. So one at the beginning, one at the end.
Okay. You can check it on this feed here. It's a good resource if you've got a trip coming up and everything like that. And that'll do it. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.